Hi, Leo. This reading is for anyone who identifies as or finds themselves very interested in a Leo during April 2019. Specifically, we are at mid-April 2019 now. So this reading may resonate with the entirety or for the entirety of April for some of you, but it may just be speaking to the second half for others. And I keep saying this reading, but it's actually these readings. We're going to do 2 readings for you today, Leos. I did miss doing a reading for you in March, and I really did miss it, honestly, Leos. I have really formed a relationship with Leo over the last few months, even from the end of last year. You all really affect me. These readings just make me so emotional, and it's almost a challenge to try to keep my emotions in check a little bit, to detach a little, to separate myself a little, because I feel what comes through in your reading so intensely. So I really did miss doing your reading in March, Leos, and I know these are late, but we're going to do 2 today. Mid-April reading and then a mid-April love reading. So we'll start with the general for Leos. Just at the very end of Aries season, where the sun that rules you is exalted, and just before moving into Taurus season. We'll take that one. King of Swords reversed, Leo, and you did have the 5 of Fire. That's the King of Air reversed here immediately, and you did have the 5 of Fire reversed on the bottom of the deck there. So I think that you are entering oh, sorry, I'm getting a phone call here. I think you are entering a time of I'm trying to think of the word I want to use. Peace works, but a time that is post ego drama. Okay, so you're done with some type of drama, some type of feuding, warring about something with someone. But that's coming to an end. And still with the King of Swords in reverse, you still have a lot of work left to do. And some of you may not be being completely honest about something. I don't know if it's with yourself or with someone else. We'll see what else comes through in the reading. And that may be connected to the ego drama that you are that you've put behind you now. You're crossed with emotional fulfillment, though. Shared emotional fulfillment. When we see the 10 of Cups here, this is, to me, sharing joy with others at the same time. Sharing joy with others and seeing the joy that you're outputting reflected back to you in the scenery around you, and the relationships, the connections around you. There's a feeling of familial love coming through, meeting you currently. Now I say familial love, and maybe it's a friend group who are like family members to you, Leos. Maybe even possibly for some a work situation. There's just the feeling of familial love coming through, but it could be any person or group of people that's giving you that feeling. You could feel like you have shared emotional fulfillment, content at home with your pets, and that could be giving you familial love. But I'm getting the sense that there is this person, people, or these energies around you, this loving and close, supportive energy around you that's comforting you after that, in a sense, after that ego drama that we saw on the bottom of the deck. Like I said, I feel like you're post ego drama. You're past any feuds, any fights. competition. I think it was just, could have just been some sort of competition and comparison for some, but you're post that, and still, like I said, still in a place where there's some work that needs done, maybe on your relationships with that person or those people who you had the ego drama with, potentially, if you're trying to mend things, patch things up. They may be making you feel like you let them down, or you're just, putting that feeling on yourself, Leos. You may just have that vibe going on all on your own, that you feel like you let them down. And it could have been in a romantic relationship, but really, that's for some. For some, it could be in a romantic relationship, and it may sound like I'm talking about that type of a partnership, but really this is the general, and the next reading will be the love reading. So it could, sometimes the love messages will come through in both readings. So it could be, but it could just be a roommate, a friend, a family member, etc. I think someone in the situation with that, concerning that ego drama, that fighting, that feuding that we were talking about, that competition, someone was being selfish, self-centered. Just really, really prioritizing their wealth and or success, or them coming out on top in the situation in whatever way that shook out. Depends on the specifics of your situation. And whatever type of relationship you have with this person, a lot of you in the recent past felt like you had to let them go, like you had to make a sacrifice regarding maybe having these people or this person in your life. For some of you, that could absolutely be why you're feeling currently like you've let somebody down. You maybe feel like you should have been able to figure out a way to get along with this person. Ultimately, you have victory showing, Leo. This is the final outcome of the spread. So by the middle of next month, really, I would say, that's my cat. She has some breathing issues. But yeah, by the middle of next month, I would say we see victory in this situation, whatever that means for you, whatever the win is in this situation. Does that mean, you get to have them back in your life? You see, whatever the situation is, it's going to be seen through to a victorious, winning conclusion for you, Leos, for the seeker here, for the querent in this situation. Even though in the near future, it's going to feel like whatever project you're working on, and I think it is a passion project, something that you can categorize that way. In the near future, it is lacking energy. And I don't know if that's connected to that ego drama, probably. Feeling like you had to sacrifice someone. If the project that you're working on, Leo, has to do with you putting a message out to someone or to the world, then I see a fire messenger in reverse here. So I don't see that message coming out from you, Leo, as the fire sign that I see in this reading most prominently. I don't see that happening in the near future. You're not ready to do that work, if that's what your work is. Not quite yet, but you are victorious by mid-May. If you are thinking about sending a message to this person, or if they are a fire sign and you're waiting on a message from them in the near future, again, Leo, I don't see you sending a message or a message coming in. And it could be that they're also a fire sign, since this is a fire messenger here, or it could be that it's a message of passion, a message of love, a message of intensity, a message of tempers, right? Again, it's not coming in or going out. That message isn't happening in the near future. But for a lot of you, it's like I said originally, that's an indication that there's a passion project in the near future that is lacking energy, lacking enthusiasm. And it's just, I really feel that it's just through the rest of April and maybe the beginning of May for some, at most, So at most, really, it feels like a couple weeks or so to me. And then you have this victory in your outcome, in your ultimate outcome. You're able to see that project through to conclusion, even though someone has been selfish in the past, or unable to get finances together in the root of this situation. I feel like that has a lot to do with the ego drama that you're trying to come away from currently, is finances. Either it was a fight with somebody about finances, or just a fight with yourself about finances, not having those things ready and grouped together. You're definitely in a period of healing regarding all of this, Leos. I'm not sure how much of this you can honestly even see. I'll try to scoot it up for you here a little bit. Just have to overlap a little bit here. Hopefully you can see a little bit. And then we have the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. More fire energy. You may be dealing with a Sagittarius specifically for some, or even Sagittarius energy in your own chart. I don't know if you can see that. I feel like I need to pause and just... It's pretty much the same, but you can kind of see things, right? But yeah, I think finances had something to do with that ego drama in the root of the situation for sure. And then we've got, which you probably can't see over here, the Knight of Wands again on the bottom of the deck. So somebody in this situation has been in and out of the picture. In and out. And yet, this is also an indication that you are attracting like-minded spirits, kindred spirits, like-minded individuals at this time, Leo. And that's just like what we were talking about. Even though someone has been selfish and it's been hard for you to make a sacrifice in the recent past, or someone has been selfish and self-centered and it has resulted in you, was really what I should have said, resulted in you needing to make a sacrifice in the recent past. You're met with this shared emotional fulfillment, this shared joy, the comfort of, again, familial support and love currently. Even if you're not being completely honest with yourself, maybe about how hard that sacrifice was, maybe about what role you played in the situation, maybe about how you still feel about the person you had to sacrifice if it does happen to be a romantic situation for you. I also see for some of you that in the root of the situation, part of the problem why you were having so much ego drama is because you were so much in your head. That's why you were, comparing yourself to others, making too much out of competition of some sort, and maybe tricking yourself out of an income, out of finances flowing in an abundant way, because with the King of Pentacles in reverse, he needs to get into his body, which can also be an indication that he needs to get out of his head, right? And his finances aren't secure. He's had some sort of a loss. He's gambled his money away, something like that. So we could see, that you needed to get into your body in the root of the situation. And then currently with the King of Swords reverse, you are finally succeeding in getting out of your head. You needed a new perspective, which I think you got here in the recent past when you see the Hanged Man. May have even been as far back as Pisces season, since this is a Pisces card and we're just now at the end of Aries. For some of you, the timeline will be a little different It always is, but you're healing. You're healing. Your advice is to continue to move through this healing. The only way out is through. And I think you're realizing that with the shift in perspective in the recent past, that you have to accept the role that you've played in your resulting in your current situation, and own why you feel like you've let someone down. For some of you, it's yourself that you feel like you've let down currently. But there's this beautiful energy of shared joy around you that's sort of, again, pushing you out of your head and into your body, into the surrounding life and people around you, which I think is exactly why, even though your passion project or communication is lacking energy in the near future, it ultimately turns into a victory by mid-May. You just need some time. You need some time to heal. You need to let yourself move through this. You've also got the Seven of Cups in reverse and the Knight of Swords in reverse as your other two pieces of advice. There is a reversal of fortune happening here in this situation, Leo. So if you feel like you've been down and out, specifically regarding a divine feminine in your life that you've been having this ego drama with, okay? Maybe someone who you did think you had a soulful connection with, but it turned into, mental battles, but hopefully that's peace now. Someone who you maybe were trying to collaborate with, trying to work with, someone who you love enough to work on and work with, or who you love to work with, because you both maybe love to do literally the same thing for work, right? So, but work you love to do nonetheless was probably involved. Divine feminine aspect was probably involved, just from what I see here, digging through the bottom of the clarifier deck. But that's our last piece of advice. With the Knight of Swords is also someone who overthinks, also someone who needs to meditate frequently, needs to get out of their head, maybe a little reckless, especially in the reverse, with his or her thoughts and actions. This is, this is air, double air energy. And that whoosh, that rush of air that I think of when I think of double air is exactly what the Knight of Swords reversed indicates to me. Can just blow things over, knock things over with that power, with a gust, shatter things in an instant. And he's determined, and he has a hold of a truth. But especially in the reverse, has he also processed his thoughts so fast that he's skewing or misunderstanding that truth. The determination is an admirable quality, sure, but he's often thinking and moving so quickly that he's again, reckless with any action he takes, and possibly even processing the truths and the information incorrectly to begin with. Sometimes, again, depends on the specifics of your situation. The most important pieces of advice that I feel coming through that I'll leave you with, Leo, is the only way out is through. So for those of you who are still stuck in your head, maybe, or aren't being completely honest with yourself about how you still feel about whatever this ego drama was in the past, whatever this insecurity, wherever this insecurity was rooted in the past, be it finances or failed love, the only way out is through. Admitting how you still feel about it, admitting that the healing is still taking place. There is no bypassing that, obviously. And it's just time for you to be reminded of that. And especially if in your recent past, in this perspective shift, if you came to know what it is that you want. Do you know what you want for yourself? With the Seven of Cups in reverse, upright, it can be some escapism, being lost in fantasy, and maybe even being confused, maybe being lost in even addiction, substances other than but But in the reverse, some of you have realized in the recent past, when you had that perspective shift, when you made this sacrifice in the recent past, some of you have realized what it is that you want. If you haven't, if you don't, then this piece of advice, this card is saying to us, do you need to know right now? If you don't know what you want, that's okay. Do you need to know right now? Maybe you know what you don't want. Maybe you know you can't accept, a certain type of behavior that, like I said, that selfish, self-centered energy, or maybe that lack mindset of your own, if that was coming from you in the root. And if you do know, if you have realized what you want, then we focus on that. We focus on cutting things away from the truth of what it is that you want. Cutting things from the path that block you from the truth of what you want. And if you don't know, again, you just return to that question, do I need to know right now? And for a lot of you, the answer will be no, because you're still in the space of healing. And then the answer to the question is, as we said, frequent meditation. It can almost seem like opposing pieces of advice, Leo, to say, to get out of your head, but also to frequently meditate. But frequently meditating is clearing your mind, giving your mind a break from those thoughts. We certainly don't mean to go within and think for an hour and call it meditation. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with it if that's your attempt, if that's what your attempt looks like, at least you're attempting it. Certainly, an additional piece of advice here is to lean on those kindred spirits and like-minded individuals that you may be attracting into your life at this time. And if that doesn't ring true for you, then consider that whatever energies are currently have recently been sacrificed or even dismissed from your life, be it parts of yourself or people external, they were dismissed and cleared out to make room for these like-minded individuals and kindred spirits who maybe just aren't here yet, right? So that is your general reading, Leos. I'm surprised you didn't make me cry, knock on wood, because we still have the love reading. And I hope that the needed insight was received on the general reading, Leos. If you need a private reading or are interested in a private reading from me, just scroll down and check out the description box below. You have options and links there. And we'll talk a little bit more about those at the end of the love reading. Okay, so let's start the love reading then. Leo, love, mid-April 2019. Let's see. The Eight of Swords reversed. Okay. Freeing yourself from limiting beliefs regarding your love life at this time. That also jives with the general for those of you who found you had a love reading coming through for both readings, in both readings. Freeing yourself from limiting beliefs, dropping a victim mentality. That's what's happening, Leo. A lot of you have been feeling like the victim in a situation, in a partnership, a soulful connection, a divine partnership in your mind, however you define it, however you label it. Actually, what I'm really feeling is like a lot of Leos have been are at present dropping a victim mentality in order to be part of that type of connection, that soulful divine connection, in order to bond with a possibly a new partner, or dropping a victim mentality so you can bond in a deeper way with a partner you were already with. We do have ego drama in the root of the situation. Again, absolutely jives with the first message, the general message. In case you skipped right to the love message, they may blend together for some. looks like there was some fighting. I'm going to use the same term again, some warring over something, because all was not clear with the moon card here in the recent past, maybe even around the new moon at the beginning of the month, Leos. For some, you know, the time's going to be a little different for everybody, but it looks like there was some ego drama, some fighting, some competition in your love life, and then in the recent past, all just wasn't clear. Who around your person or around you should be considered as competition, as other suitors, who was in the wrong in some specific fight the two of you were having. Maybe if it was a little different than competition and suitors, but that'll just be specifically for some coupled Leos or Leos who recently were. And because of that ego drama and that confusion, just all not being what it seemed as of late, not being unsure, I think even what the other person meant. I think there was some communication problems where the two of you were literally unsure what the other one was saying, or how the other one felt, what they meant by certain things, or again, like I said, who around you or the other person should be considered just friends or other suitors, competitions. And because of that, here in the near future, even though you are shedding this victim mentality, feeling like the only person who was hurt in the situation, so that you can see more of the whole objective situation, whereas it's been a little clouded in the recent past, there's still going to be some defensiveness from someone in the near future, and that could be you, that could be them. But yeah, because of all that happened there in the past, someone's still feeling defensive. And ultimately, we have this Four of Cups energy where someone is, well, as you can see in this image here, tossing something, throwing something away, letting go of something, and immediately regretting it. And so if that's you, that's considering, you know, the ego drama and the confusion and the defensiveness, if that's you, that, you know, you're considering letting yourself just sort of let this go because of all that, I see someone in this image who immediately regrets this decision. You see they're uninterested in the other options that they have available to them. They're not even looking at their other opportunities. They don't care about them. They're staring at the one that they've just thrown away. So if you need a private reading, if you're interested in a personal reading, check out the description below, Leos, because it's going to shake out a little bit differently for some of you. I can already hear and feel some of you saying like, well, I have no choice. You know, I don't want to let them go, but I won't have a choice. And it could be flip-flopped. It could be them that's feeling that way about you. One of you is feeling defensive still. Maybe because all that, you know, hasn't become clear. Maybe what has become clear in the recent past is that, yes, there's some confusion because communication isn't as clear as it could be, and we don't, one or both of you may be acknowledging, hey, we don't see all of what's going on, right? So that much may have become clear, but still the details are not. You know what I mean? You may be shedding the victim mentality because you understand that communication is confusing, but that doesn't mean that you have the answers to the questions you need, or that they have the answers to the questions that they need. I think it's the confusion and the victim mentality that you're trying to get rid of currently that has been keeping you stuck. And I'm sorry to keep saying that, victim mentality, but that is just someone who in these fights, in this drama, felt like they were the one getting the short end of the stick. And it looks like at least what we've realized, you or them or both of you, at least what we've realized at present is that there's a different way to look at it. There's an equal partnership to be had here, a balance to be had, where we see that, you know, there's just two people's perspectives coming in. And I don't know exactly why someone's still feeling defensive in the near future, Leo, but that energy is there. It's also, with the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Fire, this is also someone who could be defending the relationship itself, trying to stand up for what the two of you had. For a few of you, that's going to be what's applicable here. But I really feel that for most, what's coming through is that someone is being individually defensive about their beliefs, their actions, their person, as a singular person, because of this outcome, because someone here is dropping whatever they've had here in this love situation, and like I said, immediately unhappy about it, immediately unsatisfied with the outcome. And actually, I do think that whomever is gonna let this go, I think they know that. Clearly, they want this. This is showing up because, like I said, the connection is soulful and both people want to be in it. And it really is just coming down to you being stuck at a lack of clear communication. You being stuck in the confusion and the fact that you don't know one another's whole truth. There are some things to be revealed about one or the other of you, and someone can sense that. Someone's intuition is telling them that. And we're no longer acting like we're the only wounded party. But like I said, that doesn't mean that you have all the information that you need. You're still stuck there. You're stuck at not having the communication or the information, and it comes down to, like I said, someone just dropping this. And as they're doing it, I really feel strongly in this reading that as they're doing it, they already know this isn't what I want. This isn't going to make me happy. I'm not going to pay attention to these other options and opportunities. For those of you who are the ones being let go of, at least there's that to take into consideration, that that's not because of other options or opportunities that they have. And Leo, if it's you, I don't think it's because of other options and opportunities. There are other people available to you. You see those other 3 cups there. There's a group of people available to you, but that's not why. It's just because this isn't working. Someone's too defensive. Someone's too secretive. Maybe even the root of why we had all this ego drama to begin with is unknown, and leaves everything feeling messy and like it doesn't have a conclusion, like it's not clear enough to move forward with. We'll get one last piece of advice, and then that's what we'll leave you with. But the overall energy presiding over the whole love reading for you at mid-April is a harsh truth that you either have to deliver or receive, a harsh truth that you have to carry, with the Page of Swords here on the bottom of the deck. And whether it's a truth that you're delivering or a truth that you're receiving, it is true, and it's difficult to wield. It's difficult for whomever has to deliver it. It's difficult for whomever has to accept it. And it very well may be, since it's the Page of Swords showing up here, delivered in an immature way. It may come off sounding a lot harsher than it's meant. I think that is indicative of the relationship on the table, because like I've been talking about, your problem, what you're stuck at, is this lack of clear communication. I think we have 2 people here on the table who really do want to be together, who really do care about each other, but they just can't communicate clearly. They just can't share enough of their truth, or their truth in the right way to where the other person can receive it, can understand literally what they're saying. I really feel, Leo, that we as people, all of us, not just Leos or any sign, we miscommunicate more than we communicate. And there's that Maya Angelou poem that says, a line in it says, lovers lying next to one another think very different thoughts. And these are, these ideas are shades of things that look very much like what's on the table. And yet I think that the connection and the love and the potential, the desire for each other is definitely here. The emotion, the commitment is here. But what can you do if you just can't completely show yourself to someone, or don't know how to communicate yourself clearly? And again, it could be you that's struggling with it, them, or both of you. Certainly both people end up struggling over the issue for sure. Let's get one final piece of advice, and then I will leave it in your capable hands. One final piece of advice regarding your love lives, Leo, at mid-April 2019 from the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. We got 2. The Queen of Cups and the 3 of Swords in reverse. Again, it's jiving with the general. Interesting. So I feel like what we're seeing here on the bottom of this deck is that there isn't going to be a resurrection. So this is probably all about something that you were hoping to resurrect, Leos, hoping to bring back to life in some way. Maybe the relationship was totally dead, had been a breakup, or maybe it just had been lacking passion. But it looks like there's not a resurrection happening, even though you are advised to make this resurrection happen. The only way out is through, as far as the healing that's going on for I think both of you in this situation. The only way out is through, is to continue being honest with yourself and this person, to the necessary extent, depending on whether or not you're going to continue to be involved with them, right? If you're tangled up together, you need to be as honest with them as you're being with yourself. And honest about your emotions is what we're seeing here. Someone is having trouble communicating their emotions, being honest about their emotions, being honest about what they feel. They may even be hiding all of what they feel in part, right, from themselves. And that may be why it's completely impossible for them to communicate to you how they're feeling, because they're not being honest with themselves. And again, this can be flip-flopped, it can be vice versa, but that's what's needed here. The only way out is through introspection, through reflection of your own emotions, through being honest about it. So this may be for you. This may be advice for you, is to own up and be honest about that. Realize that that's where you all are stuck. And if not, if it's the other party, if it's flip-flop, then, that's it's answers to questions for you as to why. Be advised that this is why. For every other reason, that the cards are actually advising you to go forward with this resurrection. But, it's not up to you to force someone else's healing. What they need to do then, if it's not you, what they need to do is be honest with themselves about how they're feeling, so they can be honest with you about it. Be honest with themselves about where you all are stuck here with this confusion and lack of clear communication. And if they can't do that, of course, you cannot force them to do that. And the path that you're on now, I have to say, the path you are on now does leave you with this not being resurrected. And like I said, someone letting this go, regretting it as they do so. So it may be, it's just taking too long. This is something that is sure to be successful for the two of you if you were to stay on this path, but it's just taking too long for somebody. And what's really coming through is it's taking too long for somebody to wait for the other to open up, to be honest. There's a lot of Aries energy actually coming through. There you are too, Leo. Yeah, somebody's ready to take action, and there's something about the situation that's just taking too long. So again, those pieces of advice, if they're not for you, then it could be that in order to resurrect this, your advice is to try to lead them to these conclusions. But otherwise, it just seems like it's a miss, for those of you who are unwilling to be honest with yourself, with them, or feel that you can't encourage them to do so, or just feel that ultimately you're just unable to sway them in that direction. So again, Leos, if you need a private reading, if you'd like a private reading from me, just scroll down to the description box below, check out the information and links there. You can also email me. You'll find my email in the description as well, LunarticksTarot@gmail.com. And most people want to talk about what type of reading they have. I have some suggested areas of interest down there, and the readings are priced by length, or whether or not you're getting a rushed reading, that type of thing. So if you do, like I said, if like most people, you'd like to chat about your situation, your astrological information, and sort of talk about what kind of spread do I want, or what deck you want, etc. Of course, feel free to email LunarticksTarot@gmail.com first, and we can get started that way with a conversation. either way, Leos, I hope that you make wise choices for yourselves moving forward. I hope none of this makes you feel boxed in or determined. That's definitely not the intention here. This is the path that you're on now, but free will, your own choices, etc. play a role, and you can absolutely alter this path. So with that, I love you, and I will post another reading for you very soon, Leos.